I mean, I don't know what else to say that I haven't already said all season long. I've been forecasting this. I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you before the season began that this would be a disaster, and I told you the Kings would be done before Thanksgiving. But I did not think that I would see anything that I saw like tonight. I've watched basketball here in Sacramento for a long time. I've been part of it for a long time. Tonight was as bad as I can remember, and that's really saying something. The team quit on their coach tonight, and they quit on you tonight. They quit on their fans tonight. They quit on their fans, they quit on their coach, and they really quit on themselves. I know they were shorthanded, but shorthanded doesn't mean you can't try. Shorthanded doesn't mean that you can't have an effort. This was a layup and dunk fest by the Atlanta Hawks. And let's not make the Atlanta Hawks out to be the Oklahoma City Thunder, okay? This was one of the worst performances that I've ever seen. And again, they quit on their coach, they quit on the fans, and they quit on themselves. And there's no other way to say it. And yeah, I understand they were playing 3 and 4, and I understand they were without some key guys. When you're without key guys, that doesn't mean that you have a permission slip not to try. It doesn't mean that you don't have to have an effort. It doesn't mean that you don't try to stop the other team. We bring in Jerry. Jerry, you and I, we've unfortunately watched a lot of bad performances over our years. I put this right up there with the very worst. This is on the list.
Well, yeah, mainly because it's a home game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even good teams get blown out and play poorly on the road occasionally. It's always happened, but rarely do you see, especially this homestand where 3 games were basically blowouts, and this one was really the worst of the 3, I thought, because there was only a 4-minute span in the game, really late in the first quarter, where Clifford and Ellis and Carter came in and provided a spark and, closed it to pretty much even at the end of but that was it. Game was over after that.
The game was over quickly after that. The Kings only scored 12 points in the second quarter. They gave up 39 points in the third quarter. The Atlanta Hawks were using the fourth quarter as nothing more than a scrimmage for the reserves. The starters didn't even play. I mean, is Doug Christie equipped to handle this? I really have my doubts after listening to him on his last couple of post-game shows. I don't know if he is dealing with the reality head on or if he's just trying to make himself feel better, but he keeps preaching defense, 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 and his team keeps responding with no defense. I mean, there's a disconnect going on somewhere, Jerry.
Well, there's a disconnect everywhere. There's not very much talent on the floor.
Right.
This is a bad basketball team. And the length of the Hawks and the athleticism of the Hawks was so apparent, the differences. You're really, I mean, that's really the part of it. I honestly, I don't know. I really don't know what Doug can do, and I don't know what Red Auerbach could do with this bunch.
Yeah, but isn't there a thing called effort? I didn't see any effort tonight, Jerry. I'm sorry.
Well, I saw it. No, that's not true. You saw it from Clifford. You saw it from Keon Ellis. You saw it from a couple of guys.
From a couple of guys, but I mean, Jerry, we're talking 2 or 3 guys, maybe 4 guys at the most.
No, I agree. I mean, I think basically it's one of those things that when guys don't give the efforts, just got to get them out of there. Got to get them out of there. They've got to they got to answer for it. I thought he did pull the plug on guys there in the first quarter because he went to guys much quicker. I mean, certainly Carter, Clifford, and Ellis have never been in the first quarter, and so. But that's the kind of thing you got to do at the start of the game, or don't even start the game with them. I agree. You've got to make guys answerable and accountable. I mean, because effort is a given. That's supposed to be a given.
Yeah. Another bad start, Jerry. We keep talking about that almost every time that we do a show. And I understand that the Kings, got back to it within 3 at the end of the quarter, but they had to go fight uphill for the final 6 minutes of the quarter just to do that. I mean, they were down by 15 in the first quarter again.
Well, there again, that's what we're talking about. The starting 5. They're basically they got back in it because of the bench, going to the bench and getting some effort. Some guys flying around, trying hard, and they kind of got back in the game. And then, but yeah, you're not getting what you need from the guys who are being paid the most money.
Yeah, Jerry, you coached in a different era. There was no social media. Okay, we didn't have what we have today. Before the game last night, Doug unloaded on his critics and the negativity. And I didn't think it was prudent. I don't think that serves him at all to do that. I'm curious, as somebody that has as much experience as you, what advice would you give Doug in trying to shut out the outside noise? Because if he thought the noise was loud 24 hours ago, it's going to be much worse here tonight.
Yeah, the only advice I would give is just you do shut out the noise. You can't you can't really pay attention to the internet, the YouTube, Twitter, and all that stuff because it drives you nuts. And that goes for the players as well. But certainly for a coach, even if you want them all, you're going to get a lot of criticism. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to. So you have to handle that, and it really doesn't serve you well to kind of go at the critics unless you and in my mind, if you think somebody's totally unfair, call them out.
Yeah, say call their name out. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%.
I mean, yeah, because I've always felt that way. If I felt I was wrongly accused or something, I'd go right to them.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I love that. I love that. Absolutely. I think you're spot on. Jerry, is this one of the worst homestands we've ever seen? Seriously, based on the scores?
I think it is. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that strikes me. I mean, like I say, I've been around a lot of bad basketball teams, and I've seen them from all different angles and all that. But generally speaking, home teams are always in the game, even when they're not good.
Yeah.
Go back to the ultimate, the Dick Motta team that won one road game. They won 23 at home, and basically were in every game. and they even they even blew out a bunch of teams at home. So yeah, it's a rarity, and I mean, it doesn't bode well for going on the road. Now, I mean, I think we'll see. I mean, because this next stretch is brutal, with the exception maybe of Memphis, which is playing like they're basically going through the same things.
Jerry, the Kings allowed 116 in their win against Golden State, which was both teams were severely shorthanded. They gave up 132, 144, 122 tonight, and 133 tonight. Defense, I don't think so.
And I'd say as bad as their defense was, I think the offense was about equal to that. I thought really, I mean, I think the offense was, because the Hawks, and I really did think that they played awfully good defense, but their length and all really created problems where the Kings really couldn't get much going.
Yeah. Jerry, you made a good point a couple of moments ago, but it's not the first time we've discussed this. And I go back to last year. It just seems that when you watch the Kings play, their opponent is so much more athletic on the wings. They fly through the air. I mean, they have players that can gain a lot of ground in two strides. The Kings are more like their feet on the ground type players, if that makes any sense. They get out athleticized almost every single game.
Yeah, I really do. I think that's been an issue, really, even with the Beam team. It was a team that was really good and played at a level, but they still needed another longer player, and that's only gotten worse here in the last several years. And so, this is the Hawks are a great example, and they're not a championship contender. They're a good team. They're a good young team. But
and they got a good coach. Quinn Snyder does
a good coach, and they probably will win 45-6 games, I would say, if I was just guesstimating. But the thing is, there's two things to tell you about a team is, its record and the win-loss margin. And right now, obviously the record is not good, and the win-loss margin is right near the bottom of the league. So, and that tells you who they are at the moment.
Yeah, it is not good. That is for sure. And the schedule, as daunting as it has looked here, it continues now to get worse with Minnesota on the road at San Antonio, at Oklahoma City, the next night at Memphis. Who knows what that team's going to look like by then? And then you're at Denver, who's schooled you already. So, yeah, it's not getting any easier. And you talk about a team that's now their point differential, Jerry, is minus 11.1. Think about that.
Yeah, I don't think, the year that the Kings had the worst record in the league, won 17 games, I think it was 10 something.
Yeah.
But I'm not positive. So in other words, here's the bright spot, though, Grant. You want a bright spot? I've been thinking about.
Yeah, I would love a bright spot.
We
There's
don't
no
have
game
to go,
tomorrow.
No, here's a bright spot, buddy. We don't have to go get on that charter.
Well, that's a really good point, and we don't have to go to Minneapolis and freeze our tails off. So
Yeah,
that is but here's the negative to that. Okay, we don't get that yellow envelope filled with cash.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Well, if we could go get on the charter and get the envelope and then get the hell off, how's that? That'd be okay, wouldn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
boy,
yeah,
oh boy. You know,
yeah.
another team that's really struggling, Jerry, are the Clippers. They're down 110-93 at home with 10 minutes left in the fourth. To borrow one of your terms, if I may, they look like a bunch of dead horses to me.
They're old. They're an old team, and kind of like the Kings are an old team, and that's what we've talked about too. And yeah, I've watched them play several games. I just not sure if they can get out of it or not. They look overmatched a lot of nights. Yep. I mean, it's funny to me. It's like a team I thought would be the worst in the West, probably Phoenix, is actually playing pretty decent.
And
they're
together. Have you watched them play? They play together with a lot of pizzazz and spirit. That's what I want to see in Sacramento, and I'm not seeing that. I'm okay if the Kings lose, but I want to see I want them to play like the Phoenix Suns, win or lose. I watched the Suns play, and I'm like, wow, this team's really together. They're like into it. They got pizzazz. They're in. I mean, I don't see that in Sacramento.
No, you don't, and I think that's one of the things the Suns maybe got lucky with. They basically let Durant go and Bradley Beal go. They got one star, Booker, and really the rest are guys that know Booker's the star, and so yeah, and I think that's the direction the Kings probably going to have to think about going. Obviously, it's hard to make deals right now, but this team as is currently constructed, it's not gonna. It can't make a run at anything. And so you've got some guys that and really got to redo the roster as best you can, as quick as you can. But I've always said that the only thing I'll say for sure is when you got an old team, which it is, and it's not winning, then you've got to change it up.
I'm curious because you've been in all kinds of situations before. Would you even talk to the team after a homestand in a game like this? Or would you just say, get it out of your system, see you tomorrow on the plane? How would you handle this?
I don't think you'd gain anything but talking to him after the game.
Okay.
But I certainly want to have a little sit down and film session and just go over, especially just the point you brought out, effort. Let's, the effort needs to be a given. If we are who we are, and that may not be able to change, but we can go out there and compete.
And the other thing is you wouldn't want to get a knock on your door saying, hey, the owner wants to talk to you.
Well, I wouldn't want that regardless. If you're unbeaten, I wouldn't want that knock. So that's
I don't know what else to say, Jerry. I mean, you're the only one that can make me laugh tonight. And you've done it a few times, but there's no laughing matter going on the court right now. And yeah, I understand the Kings were shorthanded tonight, but other than the few players that you mentioned, I would agree with you. There's just too many situations of players not caring enough. I mean, it was so apparent tonight. It was just
the accountability. The accountability and effort just wasn't there. For all but just two or three guys, and that has to change. And the Hawks are a little shorthanded themselves. Trae Young, really.
Yeah, great point. Great point. They look better without Trae Young to me.
I think defensively they really are. I'm still a Trae Young fan. I mean, people are saying, on the broadcast night how the Hawks are better without him. I said, well, he led them to the Eastern Finals about 3 years ago.
Yeah, he did.
And was the best player on the team. So, you know, so I wouldn't be so quick
Yeah.
to go there, you know.
And sometimes when you're a star like that and you're not on the floor, and he's not going to be on the floor for several weeks, if the team excels without you, it should be somewhat of a little bit of a wake-up call to like, okay, I can't screw this up. Maybe I got to do things a little bit differently. It's not the worst thing in the world if you're Quinn Snyder right now.
No, absolutely not. And I think, and what you see what Snyder's doing, he really is trying to change how they play. And now they're playing really at this kind of pace with this kind of length defensively and all. I would think that Trey is more inclined. You got to kind of adjust and fit in a little more than in the past. We're not going to build it all around you.
Yeah, Jerry, as we wrap this up, before we get to Rhino, who's at the post-game press conference, the alarming part of this right now is the Kings are not competing. They're not competing in a sense where they're even in games for the most part. And that's what's the most disconcerting to me.
Totally agree. And it's like last night's game. Obviously, I thought they played well.
I did too. We both did.
4 minutes in the fourth quarter where they didn't, and it cost them the game. But tonight, like I say, it was just almost the reverse. There was 4 good minutes they played at the end of the first quarter with the reserves, but that was it. But they have got to bring the kind of effort that we saw last night against the Nuggets. The Nuggets are a better team. We know that. That's the kind of, if you get that kind of effort, and I think you said it, if you get that kind of effort, you can live with results, because the reason to lose is always the same. The only reason you should lose is the other team's better.
I know one thing, the fans are getting tired of this, and they have every right to be tired of this. It's the same song and dance. It's the same nonsense. And you saw the empty seats tonight. You saw the empty seats last night. And I know the holidays are coming up, and a lot of people use their tickets for the holidays when, kids are coming home from college and relatives are visiting and friends and so on and so forth. But you're going to see a real drop in attendance this year with this continuing. If this doesn't change soon, you're going to have a building that's at maybe half full.
Well, too, I mean, with all the seats with the little white cards on them, those are seats that they're trying to sell.
Yes.
And they've had, a lot more of those this year than we saw last year.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I mean, it's fans have every right to expect a great effort every night. That's what they have a right to expect.
Jerry, I'm going to let you get some sleep because last night you were up late and I'm a little concerned about you. So thank you very much.
That was an overtime. If that game went into overtime, it wouldn't have came on. So anyway, well, hang in there best you can, big boy. Maybe Rhino can.
Jerry, I will tell you, Jerry, when you say hang in there, you got to remember that I've got a little experience in games like this. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah. We both,
Jerry, 4 hours on the radio every day for 27 years with mostly losing seasons. I can handle it, Jerry. I got it.
Yeah, I know you can. Yeah, we both the county fair, so we know the deal. All right, buddy.
Thank you, Jerry.
Have as good evening as you can. Take care.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. Let's get to some phone calls. And Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call again. Is there a single team in the NBA you think the Kings would beat? Because I don't even think the Nets.
Not right now. No, maybe Washington. Maybe.
Yeah, it's beyond sad. Yeah.
And just for the record, I would replace the coach after this homestand if I were the owner. Just to be on the record, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I would make a coaching change after what I witnessed on this homestand.
Yeah, for the week.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you, Daniel. All right, let's get to Dirk. Dirk, welcome to the show.
Hey, Grant.
Dirk, what's up?
Game, I felt like I was watching the team of the Kings' future. They just were playing on the other side. You know what I mean? Like the Atlanta Hawks right now kind of look like that defensive two-way players all around, size, athleticism. And I mean, that's pretty much the only positive I took away from this game.
The only
Just thought
positive I
I'd
took
chime in.
away from this
Do you
game
like?
is that the horn sounded after 48 minutes and that I didn't have to watch it anymore. That's the only positive I took from this game.
Yeah, now, what's the? I always blank on the Hawks' astounding like defensive youngish player. What's his name? Who's got like the steals leader of last year?
I don't know because everyone tonight had
I
steals all
forget.
over the place. But I'll tell
Yeah,
you
I know,
this:
but it's
they were out hustling the Kings tonight. They were getting to the basket whenever they wanted to. They had wide open threes. Again, I'm listening to Bob Rathman and Dominic Wilkins. I'm watching the Atlanta Hawks TV feed, and they're referring to the Kings as Swiss cheese. And Neat goes, they don't. His exact words: they don't guard at all. And he was talking about how they're a bad defensive team, not just based on tonight, but they're a bad defensive team, and that the Hawks knew coming in that they would exploit them because they're such a bad defensive team. That was Dominic Wilkins tonight on Atlanta TV. Dyson Daniels is the player you're referring to.
thank you. Dyson Davis, to me, that's you got a guy that's a foundational piece, and then you build around it. I think it's interesting what you're saying about Trey. I'm with you. Maybe the Hawks are better without that guy. Again, it's this concept of can you really afford to have these offensive players who play one side of the ball? And the Kings team is filled with them. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, I mean,
have a good one.
what would you think, right? Like you're a big Kings fan. Would you keep Doug Christie as the coach right now based on what you saw in this homestand? Based on what you've seen in the first month of the season?
I think it's pointless. The coaches does not matter this year. So I will
Okay.
ask you, I think the motivation here
Okay.
is Doug going to be a big enough detriment to the young talent that because that's the opportunity, right? You want to see Neek develop and you want to see the centers develop. So is he enough of a detriment? If you think he's going to be a detriment, then yes, you would move on. But if it's not that's the case,
Well,
this team isn't
that's what I
going
have my
anywhere.
assistant coaches for player development. The head coach doesn't really get involved in player development like you think. It's really the assistant coaches. It's not really the head coach. The head coach doesn't
Okay.
spend the same amount of time with the players as the assistant coaches do.
Yeah, so to me, it's a sunk. This was all predictable, and you've been predicting this all the whole time, and I've
Yes.
been with you. This team did not get any better. I mean, Dennis Schroeder, I've never been positive
awful.
about this guy. I've
Terrible.
said before, every time I've seen him play against the Kings, he looks terrible. And so why do assume he would be playing better? He did play well in Detroit in the playoffs last year, but it was never the solution. And I don't know why people outside this organization thought that would be the case. Maybe there's some team of the future that Dennis Schroeder could play a competent role. But does the offense currently make any sense to you whatsoever?
No, but then Doug last night on the postgame show didn't even want to talk about offense because he said it's not a problem. It's a big problem. They're terrible.
Yeah, but it's like, well, just being the strategy of Sabonis is at the free throw line.
It's
You're going
terrible.
to start the game with him taking all the shots.
It's terrible.
But
No
you
rhyme or
notice no
reason.
one even moves.
Terrible.
Like I mean, we lost the locker room. There was no locker room to ever have here.
Terrible.
This was just a foregone conclusion. So, Grant, I'll trust your judgment on this. If it's going to make a difference, okay. But I don't want any more wins. I'm about tanking.
Well, they're well on their way to tanking after what I just watched on this homestand. Dirk, thank you for the call.
Take care.
All right, you do the same. I think they got a real problem in coaching, and I've been very consistent about that. And I would love to be wrong about that, but I'm not wrong right now. Boy, could I use some prime seafood and steaks from Bennett's to make me feel better. Right now, I would love it, whether I'm in Sacramento, Roseville, or the West Side Grill in Rockland. Bennett's is awesome. Again, prime seafood and steaks. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. That's bennettsrestaurants.com to make a reservation and more. Get down there this Saturday and Sunday for their outstanding brunch. That's bennettsrestaurants.com. Well, we'll hear from Ryan in a moment or two. I'm getting all these messages and I'm reading them, and it's just sad. Casey, welcome to the show, Casey.
Hey, what's up, Grant?
Hey, Casey.
Hey, like I always start my calls, we miss you on the broadcast. I listened to it for the first time tonight in a long time, but we miss you, of course. We miss Levine tonight. We missed I mean, I don't know where to start. We had a lot of Fugays, but who's our biggest asset if we were to trade for a big name? And if you were to have a big name, in your mind, what big name in the NBA would you want to come to Sacramento?
I
If you
can't
have
answer that. Casey, I don't deal in hypotheticals. I don't deal in trade
Okay.
rumors. I mean, if you ask me what player would I would want Nikola Jokic. Can you get him for me? No, I'm serious. That's why I don't answer questions like this, Casey. It's a waste of time. And I don't mean to be rude, but like you're asking me a question that doesn't have an answer to it. And I don't want to go there. I can't answer a question like that because I don't know who's available. I don't know what players are on teams that might be available. Nobody knows except for the individuals that run their own team. So I can't answer that question.
Grant, I'm sorry, but no Jean Morant, no Kawhi Leonard.
No, well, Kawhi's too old, and John Morant's a mental case.
Devin Booker, nothing.
Thank you, Casey. Let's move on. I don't want to deal with nonsense tonight, but thank you. Gunther, your turn here on the postgame show.
Hey, Grant. Yeah, I just want to ask you about, like, for example, DeMar, Levine, and Sabonis they're probably going to be on the trade block pretty soon.
Yep, they've been on the trade. Clearly, DeRozan and Levine have already been on the trade block. I think that's been well known. Sabonis to me was 50-50, but I think he's available. I think everyone's available on this team.
Okay, so I'm just assuming that the players that are on the court, I don't know if maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it feels like maybe they're just thinking like, you know what, this team, the franchise, they want to just start losing now. So I know they don't try to lose, obviously.
Well, they played that way tonight. They look like that to me.
So what I'm trying to say is, if like for tanking specifically, does the coach really matter in this situation? Like Doug?
It does matter. Yes, it does matter.
Okay, it matters to the point of.
It matters because you got to have spirit, even if you're tanking. You still got to play hard. You still got to play with spirit. You still have to listen to the coach. I don't think they were listening at all tonight. And Doug, I don't know how it was on the Sacramento TV feed, but on the Atlanta feed, they had a lot of close-ups of Doug, even on simple inbounds plays, trying to get his players to go back and pick up in the backcourt. And he got so frustrated because they weren't doing it. I don't even think they're listening to him anymore.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about that, if coaching really matters when you're tanking. So, yeah, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We got Rhino. Ryan, you were down at the post-game press conference. Can you summarize what you heard, please?
Yeah, Doug Christie, that's going to be donating some money to the NBA, first and foremost.
Oh, come on. Please tell me he didn't talk about the officiating tonight. Please tell me that.
No, curse words. Yeah. Just some language choices.
Okay.
Getting his point across. Here's where I would summarize it. I think Jason Anderson asked the question of the season, which was, and it stopped Doug in his tracks, which was, Doug, you love this city. You played with a certain passion that fueled your entire career and love for basketball. How do you get that same love to translate to your players? And I say that's the question of the year because some basketball players are just bored with that niche where you like to be a pest, where you want to defend, you just want to get up in people's faces. That's what you play for, right? And it's everything Doug Christie is trying to get this team to do. But the reality is, you don't have a roster of 15 guys wired that way. You might have a couple of them on the roster.
Right. So how did he answer the question?
He couldn't really. He stopped, said it's a great question, said a couple of things, and moved on from it. But that's why I'm pulling from this. That I think is the miscommunication and where the rubber meets the road between the players and Coach Christie, because he is hell bent on seeing this style through. And I think these players know it's not feasible. They're not wired that way. And it's either going to need to be tweaked, because he said a lot, and he said this was not the standard. He said we can't have guys going out there floating for 30 minutes and only playing for 10 minutes. He addressed the obvious hockey substitution. He basically said, there's a difference between making mistakes while you're still putting effort in. If Neat gets beat backdoor, it's not because of an effort issue. It's because he's a rookie in the league. He's guarding somebody better than him. Same for Max. And last, I'll summarize with this. I asked Doug Again, a slow start for the starters, but the bench brings you back in the first quarter. Are you looking at the contrast between those units and possibly making some changes? And he said, you got to. You got to. So there's more I'll add in, but that's what I want to start with.
So he was in a demeanor that you have never seen before with language and everything?
It felt like more of a buildup to this. He's been angry. He's dropped an F-bomb or an S-bomb there. But there were a few of them tonight. In fact, how he ended his press conference in his last statement, there was an F-bomb. He said they're going to sit down every single player and show them one-on-one if they need to the lack of effort that was out there. He also went on, Grant, to say that if this is the way the leaders want to lead, that's not going to be acceptable. And he's going to text every young player on this roster to let them know what they saw tonight from the leaders and the vets on this team is not okay.
Yeah, well, guess what? The leaders of this team, all the vets, they're going to check out like that. And as I told you, I've been saying this now since the start of the season. I said this would be a disaster. Okay, you might want to call it cleaning house, if we can use that term, cleaning house. They may have to clean house, and I think most of the fans would like that. But in the process, this season is going to be an absolute disaster. I told you this season was going to be over by Thanksgiving, but it's even worse than I thought it was going to be when I made those comments 3 weeks ago. What's going on now is worse than I could have ever imagined. I was on with Jerry while you were down there at the press conference, and I asked Jerry if he can remember a worse homestand. And off the top of his head, he said, no, I can't. The Sacramento Kings just completed one of their worst homestands in history when you look at the point differential. And this season is not recoverable unless you judge this season this way, Ryan. Neat Clifford, Max Reynolds, Devin Carter, Keon Ellis. Okay, maybe I'm leaving out a player or two if I am. Keegan Murray. That's the only way this season is recoverable. It's done already. Your season is over for all intents and purposes. It's over. It's freaking over. Like, you think you're going to go on the road and beat Minnesota and beat Oklahoma City and beat Denver and beat San Antonio with this group? Like, you have no chance.
I can't really argue with that argument. I mean, yeah, if this is what's going to be, and it's going to be this battle between, we are going to play this way. Doug said, what did you say exactly? I wrote the quotes down. It's going to get right, but it's going to get bumpy first. If you're going to lead down that route where this is just not with this group of players, and this is my take, it is not feasible. It's not. So your only option to salvage this thing is, yes, do you need to look outside the building? Do you need to look within the building? You do both, but you need to mix some of these combinations. There's no more starting who has to start because of seniority. It's starting your best combinations and balancing them out.
Yep, I agree
And
with
Doug,
you.
and I would also say Doug needs to let off the gas. He needs to meet them in the middle with some type of defensive scheme that is feasible for the players he has currently on this roster.
And offense, too, if I may add that. Hey, I want to tell you about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you: water heaters, water line repair, sewer repair, water filtration, gas lines. Call the number on your screen or newworksplumbing.com. Again, New Works Plumbing, they're available for you around the clock 24/7. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. We got phone calls that from folks that want to chime in, and we get to Chris. Hello, Chris. Chris is not there. We go overseas to Serbia and Baki. Hi, Baki.
Hey, hello. How are you guys?
What's happening?
I would like to say that whatever you say here, or whatever improvement Doug or the staff comes up with, some of the things are facts. The Kings are the small size rooster, and whoever is on the floor, the best players on the team are small guys. Keon Dennis, DeRozan, Westbrook. There is no athleticism needed competitive. So when you turn your attention to the front court, your only player is Sabonis, who's among the smallest centers in the league. You bring Eubanks from time to time, but he's cold. We have Šarić, who's ice cold, and we know Mothers. The only thing you had in order to build something defensively was Valanciunas, and you gave the guy to the bench player to you. I mean, first thing, Denver's now have the strongest center position in the league, and the second thing, Valanciunas is definitely starting center
Agreed.
for the NBA. So
I understand. So your point is what? Can we get to your point, please?
Yeah, mines are small size roster. You cannot beat anybody. You cannot stay competitive with this size team. They are all bigger than you. They're all scoring. Doesn't matter if you wanna win the game or you're giving a try or not. They are much more athletics, and without a bigger man is a disaster. And now you can say with 100% that playing Sabonis as a center without a bigger man is nothing good.
Well, you got Precious Achua now, Baki. So maybe that's an adjustment where you're looking at a front line of Sabonis, Achua, and Murray.
Yeah, you have him and Sabonis together, and still they got smaller.
Yeah, but the problem with Precious Achua is he's not a starter. He's not a starter. We're making him out to be a starter. He has to start on this team, but he's not an NBA starting forward.
Yeah, when you bring to the floor your starting five, and even those players who are, we didn't mention Monk, and when you put Monk, he's still small player. So definitely you cannot play. Go back in history and you will see the champions are always big size teams. So I wouldn't say anything more because it looked Grant's prediction that the season will be over before the Thanksgiving is almost accomplished statement.
It's over 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, in my opinion, which is really sad. The Kings fans deserve so much better than this. They really do. They deserve so much better than this, Abaki.
They deserve so much better, and we deserve so much better. And we are staying. I'm not saying I'm staying up late, but you can read the comments, and people are so disappointed. And King fan base is one of the strongest, and you can feel how disappointed people are. And you are in the middle of the November, and your season is done. So it's I was spending my whole summer waiting for the season to start. I even didn't watch the summer league. I even didn't watch this preseason. I just can't wait to season to start. And now after only 10, 11 games, we are clear that we are not clear to take up.
Baki, thank you.
Hey, Grant, a couple of things that I want to share from the press conference too, just to give everybody a little bit more information. He began with shameful compete level. He pointed out the disparity in fast break points. This was interesting. He said, I wish I could put on a jersey. I'm 55 and at least I would use all 6 of my fouls. And in terms of the level of physicality, he talked about how it's really hard, and I didn't say it in these words, to lobby for calls when a team like Atlanta, who's on their way up, he gave them their respect, but it's Atlanta. Now they've won 6 of 8, which is good for them without Trae Young, but they played with a level of physicality that makes the officials say, well, we can't call that every time. But when the Kings are not playing with a baseline like they did tonight, the littlest things turn into fouls. Because it looks out of the norm. And I think that was fair points as well.
I think that's fair points, but isn't that a result of coaching? I mean, isn't it Doug Christie's job to get the guys to use the fouls, to get the guys to play hard? I mean, what is a coach's job? To prepare a team, right? This team wasn't prepared tonight. And listen, I understand they were shorthanded. I get that, but they weren't ready to play tonight. I know they played last night, but guess what? Teams play the night before in this league all the time. I mean, that's part of the deal. Okay, it's part of the deal. Yeah, it's not the best situation. We talk about 3 games in 4 nights. Guess what? The Kings' next game is 3 games in 4 nights too. Are we just going to say it's okay to lose by 30 points? I mean,
No,
how
no,
much do we put on this on the coach, and how much do we put on the players? Is it 80 on the players, 20 on the coach? Is it 90-10? Is it 50-50? I mean, where are we at here? Because it's not just tonight. It's been every game on this homestand except for the Warriors game.
I'm going to put it at 50-50.
Okay.
And it's for what I said at the beginning. Like, over the last 2 games, for as bad as things have been, I've seen more structure being implemented with the starters. They're trying to get Sabonis into the middle and get him going early. But for the coach's part as well, where the liability is, he's only speaking this language, this culture, to 3 or 4 guys in that locker room that understand that language. The others do not. And the others, I think, know their strengths, know their weaknesses. And that's where it comes in, as the players and the leaders to finally say something to the coach and at least stand up and say, look, you want us, we're trying to give our effort, but we can't give our effort in the way that you're asking us to give it. Doesn't mean we can't give effort, but the way that you see us winning ball games is not up our alley. It's not playing to our strengths.
Bingo. I've been saying that since day 1 of training camp. Have I not been saying that since day 1 of training camp? I've been saying this team is not capable of playing the way their coach wants them to play. What does a good coach do? A good coach adapts, okay, to what they have, okay? All coaches adapt to their talent or lack thereof. That's what good coaches do. Doug's not doing that.
Well, and I understand only because I've been a basketball player in the past, and I was the type of guy that Doug Christie was. I was the pest. The only reason I got on the floor was because I was scrappy. And you can't create that with somebody. You either are or you are not. And he's trying, and he wants to. He believes he can turn Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan into those players that, quite frankly,
he can't.
You can't. So that's why I say 50-50.
He can't either.
No.
And again, he's being stupid about this. He's being stupid about this. Deal with reality. You can't deal with make-believe. You got to deal with reality.
But Grant, I think it's just the way Doug Christie sees the game.
Then he's the wrong coach for the job then. If that's what we're saying, then he shouldn't be the coach of this team, period. I'm sorry. He shouldn't be coaching the team. He shouldn't have gotten the job in the first place. And now we're seeing it full bore that he's not capable of doing this. He's just not. Why don't we deal with reality and talk about he is not ready to be an NBA head coach? He's the wrong guy, period. I mean, it's so obvious. How many more awful, embarrassing homestands and performances do we have to have before we wake up and just acknowledge great Sacramento King, great ambassador for the community, but he's not the guy for the job. He's just not. He's not ready for it. He's not qualified. Okay, we're seeing it in front of us with our eyes. We are seeing it. We're watching it. I mean, can we all wake up and acknowledge that? I'm not trying to kill the guy. I'm not saying that, I want him part of the organization. He deserves that. He should be a lifelong ambassador, have whatever role he wants. He's not an NBA head coach. We need to wake up.
Look, it's hard to argue against that unless there is some type of change, right? Unless there is something that meets in the middle for this team in terms of the players and the coaching. But it's hard, Grant, because we said at training camp and many times over the summer, well, Doug's going to get a training camp. We need to see this team with a training camp under Doug. And at the end of the day, yes, it actually is the approach that's faulting this team. They're much talented than the way you're running them out. Now, they're not giving you full effort, but, that's on them too. So it meets in the middle, but I can't really argue against you. This was the wrong approach. I think we have enough sample size to say that. And I'll kick this to you. Now, if that is the approach, why are you not, and he did last night and tonight, why is Keon Ellis not playing 30 minutes? Why did you sign Russell Westbrook to bury Devin Carter on the bench, who's somebody that's pesky, right?
Nothing makes sense to me, Ryan. Nothing makes sense to me. I'm sorry.
100%, Grant.
And Ryan, you're spot on. Those questions need to be asked. And right now, I don't have any answers for them, Ryan, because you're 100% correct. 100% correct.
Yeah.
Jason, you're on with Grant and Rhino. Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead. Thank you for the
Uh,
call.
Yeah, of course. For me, it's just like when the rubber meets the road, the Kings have nothing to fall back on. They don't have an identity. They don't have a star. And I mean, this singular game is really a microcosm of what this franchise has been since 2007. And, they had one good year in a down west, and they've regressed since. And, who's to blame? The coach, the players? I mean, for me, zooming out,
Everyone.
it falls on one man at the top. And it's a shame the fans of the Kings have gone from relatively, poor owners who made poor decisions with the Maloofs, and then they get purchased by an inept, clueless owner who treats this franchise like he's playing NBA 2K or something. And, it is what it is. I used to get really pissed off at games like these and get pissed off at this franchise, but now I really don't care. And I think that's the worst thing that could happen to a fan base is us becoming indifferent towards the franchise.
You know what's really bad? You know what's really bad too? It's really bad when your head coach goes on a rant and rips to shreds all of his critics like he did yesterday before the game. And then you have a performance where you give up 37 points in the fourth quarter and then turn around the next night and you're down by 40 most of the game. That really looks bad for a coach. You're ripping your critics, you're ripping the folks that are not on board with you, and yet you go out and your team plays like that. It's a bad look. That's why you're better off if you're a head coach. Don't even talk about the media that way. Just ignore it and deal with the lumps that come with being a head coach, whether you're winning games or losing games. As Jerry said, you even get criticized when you win. Don't worry about what the media says. Don't worry about the fans. Just go out and do your job.
And hidden in all of this, by the way, is the fact that Doug stood up to him tonight. He hockey subbed him out at 9:47 of the third quarter. That is a bold statement to your fan base and to your players, and I respect that.
I do too.
Yeah. And I mean, what he's saying, he's pissed off and he's showing some fire, but
you know what the mistake he made though, guys? He put him back in. I would have never put him back on the floor. He only took him out for 5 minutes, and then they were all back in. Even the announcers, Bob Rathbun and Dominic Wilkins, were saying, wow, the Kings starters are back on the floor. Why? They didn't deserve to be back on the floor.
See, Jason, this is where you're right, Grant. Jason, this is where I differ from you. I don't think this is a dog and pony act with Doug Christie. This is his passion. He truly believes he can get this out of this group. And it's not, I just don't think it's feasible. Maybe something in the middle is, but I don't think he's going up there and acting and getting mad to prove a point because the coach has to do that. This is true passion. That's who he is.
Same thing. This is the exact same thing that's going on in Memphis. You've got a coach in Memphis who wants them to play his offensive style, has implemented an offensive system that doesn't work for the talent that he has, and the players are turning on him, and you're creating a lot of dissension in the locker room because the players know that it won't work. And I know John Morant's a head case, but the point is he's not alone on that team. It's the same thing that's going on here in Sacramento. I'm drawing parallels that I'm seeing right now between Memphis and Sacramento with the disconnect between what the coaches want and what the players are not only not doing, but what they're not capable of doing.
Great point, Grant. Grant, spot on. Look around that locker room. I mean, what player can you hold your hat on that can make a stop or make a play or can play some form of team defense? I don't see it. I haven't seen it with this roster. Everybody prior to the season, when they were putting this roster together before and after they made these trades, they seen it. And this is what you get, 30 something point loss at home. So
embarrassing.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but tonight was different. These players, I don't want to use the big word, but the fans deserved much better than what they got tonight.
What about on Sunday night when they gave up 144 and they were not coming off a game the night before? What was that? What about the fans last night? I thought they were entertained to good basketball last night. I came on the postgame show with Jerry. I didn't have a problem with the way the Kings played last night. I had a problem with they played Sunday night, and I had a problem with the way they played tonight. We shouldn't be saying that more than once in a blue moon. We shouldn't be saying that twice in 3 games.
I agree. And it doesn't even matter that Malik Monk was out. It doesn't matter that Zach LaVine's out. It's the fact that the effort tonight was not even close to par for what you would expect of an NBA team, and especially a Doug Christie coach team.
Wow, very well said. Hey, I want to tell you about DAS Mechanical for your heating and air. They are experts. They really are. They are incredible with HVAC retrofitting, service specialist. And right now, through the end of this month, they have a $69 winter maintenance checkup. So you're good to go when it gets chilly this winter. DAS Mechanical, they're awesome. Family owned. They serve Sacramento and Placer counties. And if you go online to dasmechanical.org, you can book everything online and spend a moment or two and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous best of the best awards. When it comes to heating and air, keep in mind dasmechanical.org, dasmechanical.org. They are awesome, and take advantage of that $69 winter maintenance check. I don't know. I would assume Doug didn't even talk to the team after the game tonight. What can you say other than I'll see you on the airplane tomorrow?
Good question, because we didn't have any players made available at the podium. They just opened the locker room up. So that's second game in a row, by the way. Last night was due to the hour.
Yeah, I
I'm
get
not
that.
sure what tonight was about.
Yeah, I get that. I wouldn't imagine there were a lot of players that were willing to talk. Let's get to Danny. Hello, Danny. Welcome. Whoops, sorry. Danny, go ahead. You're on with Grant and Ryan, Danny.
Hey, Grant, Rhino. Just want to touch a little bit about, since we're on the Doug Christie talk, his comments about the haters and, feeling the Kings fans and stuff like that. It's okay to criticize them I feel like we're smart enough fans here in Sacramento to know, like, when you're a good coach, when you're a bad coach, but the whole product is not there for us. It's like, I don't know. Like, I grew up watching. My dad took me to see my first game, watching Karl Malone, John Stockton, and the Kings lost. I still had a good time. Now I'm bringing my son, and he went through the playoff series and was at the top. At the top. Now he won't even watch the game with me today, and it reminds me of that meme about the New York Jets kids. It's like, I was born into this. I hate this team. I hate this team. Is that where we're at now?
There are a lot of fans that don't want to go to the games. There are a lot of fans that are done. There are a lot of fans that are like, I'm done. I hear that every year, but I'm going by what the empty seats look like tonight. There are a lot of empties in the arena tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, it was 15,008. To my eye, compared to last night, it was significantly less, and last night was 15,008.
And again, that's the announced attendance, not the actual attendance.
Correct. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, you're a bad home. And the only thing that might save the Kings for the next 6 weeks are the holidays, because a lot of folks come in, they want to go to an arena, blah, blah, blah. But, you're a bad homestand away from that place being empty, or at least half empty. It's bad. Fans deserve better. Plain and simple. They deserve better. They really do. They deserve better. It's just awful.
No doubt about it.
Danny?
No doubt about it.
Thanks, guys. Yeah,
Thanks, Danny.
Thanks.
All right. Danny, I hope your son can find a way to get back into
Me too.
Kings basketball this season.
Yeah, me too. Tay, what's going on?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I've been following the Clippers and Pelicans very closely this season, and both Tyronn Lue and Willie Green are being ripped up by the local media because of the horrendous starts. However, both of them, they just coach the team. They don't put out, passive aggressive statements like Doug. That's what head coaches should do, like Tyronn Lue and Willie Green, despite them getting ripped up in their local, respective medias. Now, since all the veterans are in the shopping block, I think Scott Perry really needs to shine. Just thinking out loud, I think a team like the Clippers can really use like a Zach LaVine, because they're just so horrible offensively. I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna get from the Clippers, but my point is Perry needs to shine, starting December 15th to February 15th. So that's just what I wanted to get off my chest.
Thank you
Thanks,
for the
guys.
call. Appreciate it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, I think that the trend, this team needs to rebuild. They need to go young, and they need to stockpile draft picks and hope they get lucky in the draft. So that's for sure. That's for sure. Wow. What a horrible night of basketball. I don't know what else to say. It was just flat out embarrassing. It was just embarrassing.
Yeah. Why don't you? Do we have more calls?
Nope.
I was gonna say, why don't you talk to the fans?
Yeah, I will.
I think they need some love from you.
Buddy, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, buddy.
All right, take care. We're going to let him get back. He's been going nonstop. I don't really have anything to say of merit that I haven't said for years and years and years and years and years. And that's the most frustrating part. That's what's the most frustrating part about this, is this isn't like a new phenomenon where we're talking about the fans deserve better. Boy, I wish I had $1 for every time since I landed in Sacramento where I've said over the air that the fans deserve better. The fans deserve better. You have a horrible owner who continually embarrasses the franchise with his stupid ass decisions, such as hiring a general manager before, right? Hiring the general manager and not letting him hire a coach, meddling, this and that. I can go on and on. It's awful. It's awful. And right now, the Dennis Schroeder signing looks awful. We talk about no Valanciunas. And I mean, a lot of the moves just don't add up, but I've been fair, and I'm going to be fair to Scott Perry because I think he deserves that, because I think he deserves 3 years to see what he can do. I also I know very well firsthand what he's up against and who he's working for. So I keep that in mind. So I'm not going to sit here and rip to shreds Scott Perry, even though a lot of his moves right now look very suspect, but his draft picks look good. So, I mean, he's got that. I can, pat him on the back for that, at least. Nick Clifford. But I'm tired of saying the fans deserve better. I'm tired of having the negative dialogue with you. And the problem is, where's the light at the end of the tunnel right now? I've been very honest and open about this from going back to last year. I don't think you have an NBA head coach. I don't think you have the right guy. You definitely don't have the right roster for the way Doug wants to coach the team. You don't have the right roster that's capable of winning games on a consistent basis. The pieces don't fit. As Jerry Reynolds said, they're an old team. And an old team is fine if you're winning, but an old team is the worst thing you can have when you're losing. Well, they're losing. They're 3-9. They have an embarrassing point differential already. They're heading out onto the road where they have to play Minnesota, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Memphis, and Denver. And right now, do you think there are any wins there? The Memphis game's the second night of a back-to-back. I know they've won 5 straight in Minnesota, I believe. So they have played well in the past there. But why would you think that the team that you just watched on this homestand, including Sunday night where they gave up 144 to Minnesota, are going to all of a sudden contend with Rudy Gobert and Randall and everyone else? What would make you think that's going to change? So, at what point do you not just say enough's enough? Right? Enough's enough. The fans they should get their money back tonight. Really, I mean that. The fans that went to the game tonight should get tickets for another game for free. They ought to, get home and look in their email and say, hey, there's 2 complimentary tickets for you for this game coming up in March or April on the lower level. That's what you should do. That's the right thing to do, because the fans just got robbed tonight. Lack of effort, lack of enthusiasm, with the exception of a few select guys. It's not been a good homestand for Doug Christie. It's not been a good homestand for his post-game press conferences, because his message is obviously falling on deaf ears. It was not a good look for him before the game yesterday, calling out his critics and the media. And I mean, it's just bad. And then you follow that up with this? Really? It's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. You know what I'm grateful for? I'm grateful for the support we have here on this channel. I really am. You make it so worth doing shows through tough times. I really mean that. Win or lose, you're there. You care. That's the thing I love about Sacramento. You care. You care when they win. You care when they lose. You care. You have opinions, and you know how many cities in America we'd have 50 people watching this show. In many cities in America with a team this bad. Not here, man. Not here. I love you all. You're freaking great. Hey, before I go, I want to tell you about Sunrise Landing. Many models to choose from. Remember, there's no Mellorews, no homeowners. These are beautiful homes in Calusa, a Blazona development project. And remember, folks, easy to get to, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. And again, it's right across the street from the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Let me put the website up for you, calusasunrise.com. Check everything out, calusasunrise.com, and you can check out Sunrise Landing. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Fox Sports Sacramento. We'll go over it again. I'm sorry. You know what? I shouldn't have to say I'm sorry, but I'm sorry because you all are so freaking loyal and you deserve so much better than you're getting. And if I were the owner of the team, I would be apologizing to you. I would come out and I would apologize. I really would. I would let you know that I hear what you're saying. I would let you know that you care. I would let you know that I hear and read the criticism. And I would say it's up to me to do better, and I'm sorry. That's what I would do. Because you deserve better. Plain and simple, you always do. You're the most loyal, passionate fans in the freaking world. Love you. And I really mean that. You're absolutely the freaking best. You know, I'm looking at the totals for our shows on a pathetic, bad team, and you're there through thick and thin. You deserve a round of applause. The team doesn't, but you do. You should get a standing O. You deserve it. You freaking deserve it. Plain and simple, you deserve it. Talk to you tomorrow, everyone. 3 o'clock. Can you join me? All right? Fox Sports Sacramento, 3 o'clock. 104.7, 890 AM. Download the Fox Sports KSAC app. Let's make it the best, right? Appreciate you. Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.